Happy Father's Day, YouTube. Tom Sell here. Now, since it is Father's Day, I decided to do my top 10 favorite TV dads. There's been some really great TV dads over the years, whether they're sitcom dads or drama dads or whatever. There's some pretty good ones. So, that being said, here's my 10 favorite TV dads. Alright, coming in at number 10 will be Phil Dunphy, played by Ty Burrell on Modern Family. I really like Phil Dunphy. You know, his occupation is a real estate worker, and pretty cool job. I mean, I wouldn't ever be a real estate worker or anything, but that's a cool paying job there. And Ty Burrell, he has really great chemistry with his on-screen kids. I mean, there's of course his kids are the characters of the kids are of course Haley, Alex, and Lucas. He has some really great chemistry with all of them, and also his Julie Bowen, of course, plays his wife Claire Dunphy. He's the son-in-law of Ed O'Neill here. He's a really cool dad. You know, I mean, even when Haley first announced that she's pregnant and all, he did not really like most TV dads would probably flip or whatever. He's not really that much of a strict dad, actually. I mean, yeah, like when Haley and some of the kids get in trouble, yeah, he'll ground them and all, but he's not as strict as most TV dads are. Which I think he's a really cool soft dad, and I really like Ty Burrell as this role. And sadly, this upcoming season will be the final season of Modern Family. So yeah, Phil Dunphy is definitely a really cool dad. Alright. Coming in at number 9. Now, I wasn't really sure if I really wanted to add this character on my list or not. But my number 9 pick is Frank Gallagher from Shameless. Okay, now, most people will probably be like, Frank Gallagher, he's not really the world's best dad. Yeah, he does some really outrageous, dumb stuff as a dad. Like, couple times, like, for example, he once called child services on his own kids. What else he did? He once pretended that one of his kids had cancer, so he could, like, go to camp and all. Yeah, he's not the world's greatest dad, but there are times where Frank Gallagher has shown compassion as a father. You know? Like, there's this, probably one of the best Frank Gallagher moments is the scene where he's, like, in the hospital and, he can't really remember a whole lot. And so so he has a conversation with this patient, who's, like, next door to this young patient next to him. He literally thought that young patient was Fiona, and when it showed when the doctors took the girl into the other room, it looked like he literally thought that was Fiona that they were taking him, which like any Shameless fans will tell you that scene will really break your heart. And he has really great, like, out of all the kids, I think he has the best chemistry with maybe Liam and Carl probably. I mean, his chemistry with Lip and the other kids aren't always top notch, but he has really great chemistry with his on-screen kids. And yeah, he's not the world's great. He's probably not the world's greatest dad, but at times he could showcase to be a pretty decent dad once in a while when he wants to be. So, and come on, he is also an alcoholic. I mean, he's a drunk, but he's still a cool character. And who doesn't love Frank Gallagher? I mean. Alright. Coming in at number 8 will be George Lopez, played by, George Lopez on The George Lopez Show. I really love this show. I mean, it's a shame that they ended the show pretty soon. I mean, they didn't, like, quickly cancel or anything, but it didn't really last so long. But I really love George Lopez. And he has, like, really great chemistry with his on-screen kids, and of course he has really great chemistry with his on-screen wife. His mother is hilarious on the show. yeah, George Lopez is pretty much playing like a fictional version of himself, and he plays himself pretty well, you know. And George Lopez was a really funny sitcom. I mean, I still watch reruns once in a while. It's hilarious. If you guys still never had a chance to check out the George Lopez show, do yourself a favor. It's on Nick at Night once in a while. Sometimes they'll show reruns on I think MTV once in a while. It's a really funny show, and like I said, his chemistry with he's a really great pops. You know, his chemistry with his kids, Karma and Max, are both really amazing. And also Ernie is a scene steal. I mean, come on. All right, coming in at number 7 will be Michael Kyle, played by Damon Wayans in My Wife and Kids. I love My Wife and Kids. I believe it or not, George Lopez and My Wife and Kids used to play back to back on ABC, which was pretty cool. And I really love this show. You know, I kind of like George Lopez. I still watch reruns, and it all has to do with because how great of a dad Michael Kyle could be. Yeah, sometimes there are. Sorry, like there are like is usually strict with his kids, but I mean he's trying to teach his kids from right and wrong, so there's no harm about that. And his son Junior, played by George O'Gore II. I love every time Junior says or does something very dumb, Micah Kyle will always just smack him on his head. Most people will say, "Hey, that's child abuse," and blah blah blah. But I mean, it's all just for fun, you know. And Damon Wayans really played this role really well, and yeah, he's definitely a really top notch dad right there. And also, he has really great chemistry with his on screen wife, Jay, played by Tisha Campbell Martin. Love this show. I mean, I still wish they never canceled it. It was always a great show to me. And not to mention, a couple of episodes later, he ends up being a grandfather as well. So there's that. But yeah, if you guys really never had a chance to check out My Wife and Kids, they show reruns on MTV, or I think it's MTV or VH1 where they show reruns. But it's a really funny sitcom. All right, now my number 6 favorite. I was a little awkward to really. I was not even sure if I really wanted to add this one on my list because of the controversy, because of what he is right now. But granted, I'm only doing this list of the quality of the character in the show, not anything what the actor did, or I'm not doing this list of what the actor did. That's a conversation for another time. But my number 6 favorite would be Cliff Huxtable, played by Bill Cosby in The Cosby Show. Now, I know that's going to be awkward to really add to my list because, everything that's going on with Bill Cosby now. But granted, I'm only doing this, I'm only adding him on my list only by the quality of the show and the quality of the character. Like, what Bill Cosby did was sickening, but let's not forget that that he did something, not what, his character didn't do anything, so, and the show didn't do anything either, so. But anyway, that's of course, we kind of always have a conversation about the whole Bill Cosby situation, but that's a topic for another time. But anyway, The Cosby Show, despite everything going on with Bill Cosby now, it was still a funny sitcom. I mean, Cliff Huxtable was a really funny character. And he had really great chemistry with his on-screen kids. His wife was, of course, played by Phylicia Rashad. Really great chemistry with his wife. He, of course, was a doctor, hence the name Dr. Huxtable. And, The Cosby Show was still a really funny sitcom, and he was a really funny character. I mean, yeah, it probably is a little bit hard watching the show now because of what's going on, because of, what we know about Cosby now. But this show is still classic, And he was a pretty cool dad. I mean, he was a dad you probably wouldn't mind having. And I think his best chemistry is probably with his youngest kid, Rudy, played by Keisha Knight Pulliam. I think their daughter and father relationship was probably the best. But yeah, I still love the Cosby Show, despite everything going on with with the whole Cosby situation. I still think the show was really good. All right, coming in at number 5 will be Al Bundy, played by Ed O'Neill. Now I could have gone. Now I probably could have also gone with Ed O'Neill's other character, Jay from Modern Family. But come on, his best dad role is Al Bundy. Al Bundy is a character that probably won't be able to get created today because he usually says some very offensive and inappropriate stuff. Like stuff that Al Bundy said on that show, you cannot get away with today. And Married with Children, it's just a classic, you know. He of course is the Al Bundy was the husband of Peggy Bundy, played by Kathy Segal, and I really like their on screen chemistry. He also had he also had really great chemistry with his on screen kids. One of which is the one who plays his daughter is played by Christina Applegate, who I really like Christina Applegate on the show. And this show was really funny. It's hysterical. It's a 90s. Well, I think it was the 80s or 90s. Yeah, I think it first premiered in the 80s. It's a classic. And Al Bundy is just an awesome character. I mean, most of the times he just sits on his chair and usually reacts to stuff. And he does work also, but he's still a really great character. And man, you know, with Modern Family ending, I gotta say, I'll be all down for a Married with Children reunion, like a revival show. I don't know if a Married with Children show revival could really work today with today's standards, but I'll be down with it. Although I don't know if Christina Applegate will be able to do it because of that show she's on, Dead Jermaine. But if they ever announce a revival of Married with Children, I'm all for it. I'll be down to see this. Especially if Ed O'Neill and Kathy Segal come back. I mean, come on. Alright. Coming in at number 4 will be Peter Griffin, voiced by Seth MacFarlane on Family Guy. Now, kind of like Frank Gallagher, Peter Griffin isn't probably the number 1 world's best dad. Because as his father, he does some really not so great stuff with his kids. Like, he's always mean to Meg. One time he actually left Stewie at a park. That's not what you call a world's best dad, you know? But the character is still great. I love Peter Griffin, and Family Guy is one of my favorite anime shows on TV. It's hilarious, and of course, Piers has a great relationship with his wife, Lois, voiced by Alec Baldwin. And at times he does show compassion as a great father. Like he once took Stewie to Disney World, so there's that. You know, he spent time with Chris a couple of episodes. So like Frank Gallagher, he does show compassion as a dad, but he is a major drunk and he doesn't really do a whole lot as a dad, but he's still a great character, and who just doesn't love Peter Griffin? I mean, I probably could have added Homer Simpson instead of Peter Griffin. I mean, I'm not really the world's biggest Simpsons fan. I know lots of people will be like, hey, you're not a Simpsons fan, blah, blah. I mean, I watch The Simpsons once in a while. It's an okay show, but I was never, like, the world's biggest Simpsons fan, you know? But Homer Simpson is still a cool character, but I just kind of like Peter Griffin slightly more. Alright, now my number 3 favorite. Alright, like Al Bundy, this is a character that would not be able to get made today. My number 3 favorite is, of course, Archie Bunker, played by Carroll O'Connor on All in the Family. This is another character that would not be fit with today's standards. I mean, he is pretty much a racist bigot. He says some really racial and he says some really racial stuff. I'll put it there. but he really spoke his mind about you know, with lots of issues going on, and of course his daughter is played by his kids are played by Sally Strutter and Rob Reiner. But Archie is still a great character. You know, he has great chemistry with his on-screen kids, and I like the bickering back and forth between him and Meathead. Their father and son duo was pretty fun to watch, and also of course his chemistry with Edith Bunker is really great. All in the Family it's a classic. It's one of the best sitcoms of that era. It's a show that probably can't get made today. I mean, if you watch All in the Family now, you'll see why that show would not get made today in today's standards. With people being offensive all the time and all, that's probably a show that's definitely left for that generation. Although, this is going to go off subject a little, but I did kind of like that All in the Family live televised event they did on ABC. That was actually pretty good with Woody Harrelson as Archie Bunker. But Carol Connor will still always be Archie, and he was just a great character, you know. All right, my number two favorite will be Dan Connors, played by John Goodman in both Roseanne and The Connors. Now, of course, his kids here are he is of course the father of Becky, Darlene, DJ, and Jerry Connor, and his wife is of course Roseanne, played by Roseanne Barr. Now, John Goodman, of course, made his debut as Dan Connor in Roseanne, which premiered in the '80s through the early 2000s. But of course, ABC revived it revived Roseanne recently. But because of Roseanne said some not so great stuff, ABC got rid of that. But they decided to bring the Connors for a spinoff, and or it's history. But I like John Goodman as Dan Connor. He is great as his role. He has great chemistry with his on-screen kids. He does drink a little bit more than he should, but he's not a Peter Griffin drunk or a Frank Gallagher drunk, nothing like that. And he had really great chemistry with Roseanne. And if you guys remember, like I think towards the season the finale of the original Roseanne, Dan Connors sadly passed away, but then with the revival, he got revived somehow. So yeah, I think Roseanne took a page out of Marvel and decided to use a fake death, but still. I'm glad that John Goodman is back as Dan Connor, because I think he's just great as a role. And, Roseanne, she was alright on the show, but let's be for real. The heart of Roseanne was always Dan, so I'm really glad they decided you know, to give Dan his show instead of Roseanne. Because I'm really digging the Connors. I mean, it's not as good as the original Roseanne, but I still find it to be pretty funny. And John Goodman as Dan is the reason why that show really works. Alright, my number one favorite TV dad of all time. That's no surprise. The best one, in my opinion, will be another Dan, known as Danny Tanner from Full House. I mean, what a great character. Of course, he's a clean freak. Really, I mean, every time he sees something dirty or whatever, he always has to clean it. I mean, yeah, I don't know what it's called I don't know what the definition of a clean freak is called, but yeah. But anyway, I mean, on Full House, Danny Tanner's wife Sally died from a car accident, so he ends up being a widow with three girls: Michelle, Stephanie, and DJ. And to help him out with the kids, he invites his best friend Jesse. Well, actually, his brother-in-law Jesse and his best friend Joey into the house, and they of course pretty much help out with the kids and all. It's a great show. I love Full House. It's a classic show. I mean, it's nostalgia all the way around. And Bob Saget, of course, plays Danny Tanner. He played that role really well. He was funny. He had great chemistry with his kids. I really liked. I mean, of course, he ends up being a little strict. He ends up punishing the kids when they do stuff bad. But he always has like compassion for his on-screen kids, and they're really great characters here. And of course, his on-screen kids was of course played by Candace Cameron Bure, Jodie Sweetin, and the Olsen twins. But Danny Tanner to me is the best TV dad of all time. He really takes care of his kids perfectly. He has great chemistry with his on-screen kids, and I think he's the number one best TV dad of all time, man. And of course, Bob Saget returns as Danny Tanner on Fuller House, which is pretty good. I know lots of people poo-poo on that show, but I really still like Fuller House. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. Number 10, Phil Dunphy, played by Ty Burrell on Modern Family. 9, Frank Gallagher, played by William H. Macy on Shameless. 8, George Lopez, played by George Lopez on The George Lopez Show. 7, Micah Kyle, played by Damon Wayans on My Wife and Kids. 6, Cliff Huxtable, played by Bill Cosby on The Cosby Show. 5, Al Bundy, played by Ed O'Neill on Married with Children. 4, Peter Griffin, voiced by Seth MacFarlane on Family Guy. 3, Archie Bunker, played by Carol O'Connor on All in the Family. 2, Dan Connor, played by John Goodman on Roseanne / The Connors. And 1, Danny Tanner, played by Bob Saget on Full House. Now, there's loads of other ones I probably could have added. Let's see. Howard Cunningham from Happy Days is a good one. Mike Brady from The Brady Bunch. Homer Simpson. Carl Winslow from Family Matters. Let's see. Tony Soprano from The Sopranos is a good one. Ray from Everybody Loves Raymond. Philip Banks from Fresh Prince. Goldsman Adams from The Addams Family. Michael Bluth from Arrested Development. I mean, the list goes on and on. Lots of really great TV dads. Oh, not to mention Andre Johnson from Blackish is a good one as well. But let me leave it to you guys. What are some of who are some of your favorite TV dads of all time? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here is Tom Sells signing off.